This video is going to be about qualitative research, more specifically what it is and how it came about, how it is used, and the different types of qualitative research, what I learned from this assignment, and how it could be used in my role as a therapist. So let's begin. First of all, what is qualitative research? Qualitative research is the process of inquiries that seek a more in-depth understanding of any possible social phenomena within its natural setting. Qualitative research focuses more on the why aspect rather than the what. Qualitative research heavily relies on the direct experiences reported by test subjects from their everyday lives. Instead of using logical and statistical approaches, qualitative researchers use many systems inquiry for their studies of social phenomena. This could include, but is not limited to, case studies, historical model, narrative model, ethnography model, grounded theory, phenomenology, and more. The 5 major areas of focus for qualitative research are individuals, society, cultures, language, and communication. While there are many different methods of inquiry for qualitative research, the most common assumptions that is made is that the knowledge is not objective, but rather it is subjective. Through this, the researchers will learn from the participants in order to understand their meaning of life. To ensure that there is no bias presented and build a level of trustworthiness, the qualitative researcher must make an attempt at staying as neutral as possible during the gathering of their research and the research process. So where did qualitative research even come from? We as humans have always been curious and searching for an understanding of the world that we live in. Before the idea and methods of research was discussed and created, most of the information people went on was ideas and stories of the human existence came from the Bible, churches, and from Plato, Aristotle, and other Greek philosophers. Greek philosophers strongly believed that the process of knowing had a straightforward, systematic, and logical approach to it. During the pursuit of knowledge in the late 1800s, it was around this time during a scientific crisis that is to be when qualitative research possibly made its first appearance. Immanuel Kant, William Dilthey, Edmund Husserl, and many other philosophers of this time believe that our experiences and reflections of our decisions is what our lives consist of. They also believe that we live out our lives in our own personal histories, and we live and breathe in a matrix of many complex relationships with others. Because of this theory, it is believed that humans are not able to be studied as isolated subjects, but rather they should be understood in their natural setting of their life via social and cultural connections and not through a staged study. The combined work of all the philosophers are the ones who paved the way for the beginning of qualitative research. Qualitative research offers critical tools that help to advance researchers' ambition to being open to new and different ways of seeing. By using research that is based on qualitative research and data, new insights are seen as theories that have been taken for granted and exposed to new possible theoretical approaches. As more and more problems arise in our society, more and more scholars are choosing qualitative research. There are several different approaches when it comes to qualitative research. As mentioned earlier, there are case studies, historical model or narrative model, ethnography model, grounded theory, and phenomenology. The 2 most popular forms of qualitative research are phenomenology and case studies. A phenomenological approach involves the data collection and study of lived experiences. The phenomenological method collects its data through interviewers, observations, and surveys. The main goal of this approach is to collect data of how their subjects felt during their experience. The phenomenological approach can also be used to explore a phenomenon more in depth. Another approach could be when researchers seek to describe an already existing phenomena to create and add a new theory to its already existing one. A case study is the research approach that has been used by Freud and also in common medicine that can be utilized to explore extraordinary situations. An example of using case study could be that an exceptional phenomenon regarding a single person, which can include the person's socioeconomic difficulties. The test subject of a case study does not have to be a single human subject either. It could be a family, a business, organization, or town. When doing this, the researcher looks at these things as a whole and not each single person. Case studies may use different sources in order to collect its data. Case study can also be utilized to study multiple cases at the exact same time. Ethnographic is one of the most utilized and recognized qualitative research methods as well. Ethnographic studies are about culture, and its research depends on how the researcher defines culture. Ethnographic research puts its human subjects into a culture that they are unfamiliar with. The goal of this study is to learn and describe the unfamiliar culture's characteristics, to observe the cultural challenges and motivations that drive that culture's group. This type of research typically involves the researcher to immerse the subjects for extended time periods. Narrative model is the focus on a person's authentic stories and the way that person describes the meaning of their own experiences through their personal story. Narrative method enables a different perspective that makes it possible to combine a person's life story through their personal development. The narrative model happens over a period of extended time and compiles data as it occurs. Very much like a story is told, it takes its subjects through the beginning of the story and has them reflect on stressful or life-altering events or skipped over opportunities. The historical model describes a subject's past life events in order for the researcher to understand a person's present patterns of behaviors and decisions and predicts the person's potential future decisions. The historical model answers a researcher's questions based on a hypothetical thought or idea, and then the researcher uses its available resources to test their hypothesis to discover any potential deviations. Grounded theory model was created by two American sociologists, Barney Glasser and Anselm Strauss. Grounded theory has often been considered a modernist and positive approach of all the qualitative methods. Many other scholars have also interpreted their own approaches to this theory. Grounded theory is considered an iterative, interactive, and comparison and abductive method of research. The purpose of the grounded theory research method is to develop a new idea about a phenomenon. Grounded theory attempts to explain why a course of action played out the way it did. The way data is collected is by looking at large subject numbers, and theoretical models are created on already existing data. What I learned from this assignment is that there are so many different approaches to qualitative research than I thought. This concept is completely new to me, and I have never heard of it before. It was interesting to learn about how many ways researchers can collect data. It seems that the commonality of all the different methods of qualitative research looks at the lives of their subjects to collect the data, and then it is studied and analyzed, basically such as trying to see if there is a pattern to how a person came about making the choices that resulted in many life events that were either life-altering in a positive or negative outcome. As a future therapist, I would probably use phenomenology as a way to collect data. The way I see it, therapists already do this without intending to do so. By that, I mean we sit and listen to our clients talk about their lives and what led up to the possible dysfunction and choices that they made for that dysfunction to be created. We use their lived experiences and analyzed it and help them see what potential actions led to them to where they are currently in their place. Thank you, and I hope you enjoyed and learned something.